Time to get hype because this is something that I have been wanting for a hot minute. And you've probably heard me mention it before if you've been watching my various videos. But while I unbox this, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, tell your mother I say hi. I hope she's doing well. And let's get started. Oh, and click the donate button. It's the coffee in the description. A little bit goes a long way. And you know, I've been getting screwed out of some fucking deals if you've seen my how to pack knife. But right now we have this adorable Will Gem, Mr. Ladybug. Alright, before we look at that, little sticker and a little pocket warranty thing. If you want to read about the Ladybug, wow, what a great read! You know, I actually haven't gotten around to reading any of these, but hey, you know, if you wanted to pause the video and read about it, who am I to stop you? Let me just slap all this in. So specifically, not just any ladybug. I was wanting either an H2 ladybug or dragonfly. Now, if you saw earlier, I have this dragonfly that is this vintage 90s one that has this weird built-in pocket clip, and you can't disassemble it. But the ladybug, oh my god, it's so cute. This is H2. It's serrated, which a lot of people don't care for, but I don't care because I just want to use this to shuck oysters. Now, this is the ladybug compared to the dragonfly. As you can see, the dragonfly is bigger. Now, that isn't to say that the dragonfly is a big knife. In fact, it's barely able to get all four fingers. It's a little risky to get all four fingers on here. Now compared to Lil Native, which is a lot more comfortable to get all four fingers on here, and the Para 3, which is definitely you can get four fingers here without having to choke up. Now comparing the Dragonfly to the Para 3, comparing the Ladybug. Now the Salt, I have a Salt Para 3. Now you might be wondering, why would you need a Salt Ladybug if you have a Salt Para 3? And that's because while this is Magna Cut, I have a Magna Cut steel Balisong that rusted, and I don't like that. Now this is harder, more durable. We'll see if H2 will stand the test of time against oyster shells, but hopefully it will, because that's really all I need it to. And you know, this kind of knife you can use to cut the netting. I mean, you could probably use a non-serrated blade to cut the netting, but hey. Actually, considering how small this is, the ergos actually are really like exactly where you want the curves to be. I find that the curves for down here all line up really well. Here, I'll just hold this up real quick. Just be like, wow, look how small and adorable she is. The ergos, I find, line up really well with my three fingers here. And so while, you know, I'm not doing a ton, I do find that the thumb ramp is not conducive to, I don't want my thumb really here. Like, I can have my thumb here, in which case I'm really only doing 2.5 fingers. If I really want to get the thumb here. But if I do have all three fingers here, I kind of have my thumb way up top. Now, thankfully, I don't have to worry about this closing on me, despite putting my thumb pressure on this, because this is a backlock. And backlocks are, in general, very, very durable. The scales will fail before the lock itself, actually. Now, also, thankfully, I don't have to worry about it clamping. It almost feels like it has like this little slip joint kind of catch in the middle. I'm trying to get this to work, because yeah, there's like, basically there's like the stopping point here, and then in order to get all the way down, there's like that snap. So thankfully, when you're like, oh, I gotta close this knife, I can have my fingers back here, and it can't snap shut onto my fingers with force alone, with gravity alone. You have to move your fingers here to shut it. Actually, let me double check. I mean, this is an old Dragonfly, so who's to say? Sorry. What the? Ouch. Thankfully, it didn't actually hurt, because thankfully my finger was here where the Dragonfly hit my finger. You know, there's no blade here. Yay! But this does not have. It's also, again, older. Only being a compression lock, I don't have to worry about my fingers. Oop. Now, yes, Dragonfly. Now, the Ladybug, It comes in various versions, but yes, as you can see, this is the H2 version. I mean, theoretically, you can see it if the. I mean, let's see, Spyderco H2 Seki Japan. I don't know if the Dragonfly is the Dragonfly Seki Japan. Yes, it is. Okay, so these are both wee little baby knives from Seki Japan. A little native might be. Yep, this is Golden Colorado. I'm trying to like organize all of my tiny little Spydercos by size. I mean, the Para 3 is not even tiny. The Para 3 is a nice, comfortable size. And now, this is also interesting because normally the ergos I find really good on Spyderco knives, except for the Yo Jumbo. The Yo Jumbo has ergos that just I don't think make any sense. And also to compare the Ladybug to the PM2, comparing the Ladybug to the Civivi Mini Elementum. As you can see, these are both keychain knives. They're both very small. Neither of them have a pocket clip, and so you can't really do too much in terms of that. The Dragonfly is big enough to have a pocket clip on. Again, modern Dragonflies have pocket clips, but they do have the ability, like you could have them as a keychain if you wanted to. Um, it's like small enough that if you wanted to put on a little lanyard to like whatever. But this specifically have a can't have a keychain unless you had a way to put like I mean sorry, you can't have a pocket clip unless you had a way that was like this plug-in pocket clip here in the lanyard hole. That's doable actually. I think that could be cool, but it's so small. So this is probably good for EDC. Oh, actually for opening, I don't know if I could do the Spidey Flick. Oh, no, it's actually quite this part here quite a bit stiff. So in order to open it, can I do it one-handed? I can do it one-handed. I just wouldn't recommend it. Whereas the Dragonfly definitely can be opened one-handed. So if you were wondering between the Ladybug or the Dragonfly, there is an H2 version of the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly is probably more like usable in general. Like it's very small. Actually, let's give these ways. Bear in mind, again, this is an old vintage Dragonfly, and there are different blade steels, and like this is OS 8. But you know, the Ladybug, 0.6 ounces, and the Dragonfly, 1.16. Both of these are probably very good for EDC. Here's also the mini bug out, which weighs about 1.4 or something. So the Dragonfly is smaller. I do like the axis lock on the mini bug out. But yeah, you can see that the Dragonfly, at least in terms, I know this is a Ladybug unboxing, but still, the Dragonfly, in terms of the mini bug out, it's definitely smaller in terms of length. Folded, they are shorter. The Dragonfly is shorter than the mini bug out, but it is wider. That is one downside to Spyderco knives, is that they tend to be a little bit wider compared to other knives that have a smaller, thinner form factor. And it's always to account for the Spidey hole. In terms of the Ladybug, I don't really know if the Spidey hole is doing it any favors, because as you can see here, the Mini Elementum has a little backflip. Sorry, I'm not left-handed. But for the most part, it's very... Yeah, I'm not left-handed. But it feels really good, and it is on bearings. So it's super reactive, responsive, sharp, can do things. And thankfully, the frame lock does not feel like I'm in any risk of it. The Ladybug, like I might try and put a wee bit of... I might try and put a wee bit of super lube, which thankfully is food safe, which matters for me in this case. So yeah, because you know, I don't want to poison myself as I eat raw oysters. That would suck. A little bit of schmutz there. But yeah, I'm really grateful. This normally retails for about 60 something, like 64 or whatever. But I managed to win an eBay auction for the fact that I guess I don't know, it's in good condition, and the eBay auction I got for like 42, including shipping. So that was like woo, yay! I finally got it. So this is like the last Spyderco knife that I like really wanted, and yeah, that's good that I can just to demonstrate again that I can like really push this down and flick it down, and I am not at risk of cutting myself. I have to move my fingers out of the way and then close it shut where it will snap. So as for opening, there is definitely that initial snap part. What do you? Initial snap part here. I learned from one of my videos. A commenter said something about this is a bias for closing. It was about the Demco, and I was like, I don't know, that seems a little spooky because the way that the Demco lock can activate with this tiny little knife. Allegedly, it's safer, so I'm gonna take people's word for it. I'm still not sure specifically for the Demco, but in terms of the Ladybug, I'm not worried about this. Now, also hilariously, there is a man bug, and the man bug apparently exists because people felt uncomfortable carrying a knife that had the word lady in it, and it's like, get over yourselves, guys. Come on, really? If your masculinity is that fragile, just I don't know. So the man bug is another small form factor knife, much like the ladybug. So small, tiny size like this compared to the dragonfly. Dragonfly still being really small, but the ladybug being keychain knife opposed to still pocket clippable. And the man bug, there's some small differences. There are other videos, people who know much more, Nick Shabazz and other folks. I think Metal Complex maybe, but the Man Bug does not have an H2 variant that has a tip like this. It's more of like a rescue knife looking thing where it has a no tip, so it's like this rounded dull side. That does not do anything for me and my oyster desires, but know that that is a possibility. And of course, if you are looking for a rescue knife, there's also like the Rescue 2, which has there might be a belt cutter on that. I don't know, but it has a whistle. I think there might not be a belt cutter, but it's definitely pretty. It's like pretty affordable considering like I think it was like around 100 something. So it being a full size knife that is good for rescue, apparently, especially marine rescue. This one is so fucking small that it's easy to lose, and it's already 60. And the H2 version, the salt version of the Dragonfly 2 is I want to say like 84, so like 64ish or 60 something, 80 something for the salt variant, and then the salt variant with magnet cut for the Para 3 is about 150. And it's not in stock right now. Thankfully, I think the salt versions of these two are in stock. But yeah, that is. I think this is Golden Colorado as well, right? Yes, the Para 3 is Golden Colorado. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting how there's like several manufacturing: Taichung, Taiwan, Seki, Japan, Golden, Colorado. But yeah, there's salt variants of certain knives, and there's of course just the salt knives. But if you want a ladybug, they're very cute. If you want something incredibly light, I will say, while this is again wider than the mini Elementum, and that might matter for certain things based off of little slots that you might have in like pocket organizers, specifically more so probably with the Dragonfly and the mini bug out, because this width is wide enough that it's not going to fit in a lot of, it'll fit in like a multi-tool slot, but not necessarily in the knife slot. It depends. You might be able to make it work. But these being so small and so short that I probably wouldn't drop it deep into a pocket organizer, but just the way the mini Elementum, which is with brass scale, so it's definitely going to weigh more. Mini Elementum is 1.38 ounces, so it's actually heavier than the Dragonfly and almost as much as the mini bug out. Now, again, you're getting the small form factor here, but this is by far my lightest knife. Only thing that I might try and fuck around with, I'm legitimately kind of scared to disassemble this, so I might just see if I can get a little bit of super lube in there, just for the sake of opening. But otherwise, yeah, it is nice. I will say that in general, uh, I'm gonna make a Spyderco video now that I have every Spyderco knife I want, as well as some that I don't want that I will probably be trying to part with. But I do find that sometimes these spider holes, I wish they were just a little round, like the edges are just a little coarse. Like as you can see through, I mean, you might not be able to see, but sometimes when I try and Spidey flick knives, um, I end up scraping my fingernail against it just because I'm trying to like dig it underneath here like that. So there's a little bit of fingernail I can scrape. It's not like a bad thing, and it is openable with one hand. But it's not easy. Just to be clear, it's not easy to open one-handed, but it is doable. But partially just because of how you're already just you can't really grip it super easily. Like, you know, with here, I already have so many fingers on here that by the time that I put my thumb here, I'm not really worried about these 3 fingers against the knuckle area. Even the shorter one here, there's still enough space for my knuckle. With the Dragonfly, less so, but you know, it's still there. Ow, ooh, yeah, you gotta make sure that your fingers, if you are trying to close it with this one, you want your fingers to be high enough back here and using your thumb. That way, it'll hit against here instead of when you're pulled back against your skin. Ow, it wasn't that big of a deal, but just because of how small this is, I can't really wrap it back here because at that point, I'm already concealing the thumb hole. So I have to just be really careful to like, it's maybe more like this. I don't know. I'm still figuring this out, but it's doable. It's just less secure to do one-handed. Again, though, the Ladybug is so small that like whatever reason you might need a Ladybug or want a Ladybug over the Dragonfly, I think the Dragonfly is probably, if you want something light and usable for like multiple purposes, the Dragonfly is probably going to cover all of your needs for the most part. And I remember there was one video where someone was ranking their favorite Spyderco knives, and they put the Salt Dragonfly as their #1, and it was a personal preference because he does a lot of fishing, and so it was really good to just keep in his little like fishing gear, great for gutting fish and maybe cutting wires or whatever. I was like, yeah, that makes so much sense for your specific needs, you know. So if it was like his favorite, not like what's the best, but his favorite was the Salt Dragonfly 2, and he was like, yeah, the small form factor, it's really good and it does everything I need to do. So I think the Ladybug might be just a bit too small for EDC thing like this at this point. You know, if a knife is this small, it's more kind of like how multi-tool knives are tiny. You know, your little Victorinox knife, Leatherman knives. Like, sure, you know, some of them are openable one-handed and some of them lock. In this case, this locks. But if you are looking for just a really small knife, again, this is super light. But if you are looking for function, either I would recommend a Dragonfly or just a multi-tool where you're getting a bunch of other things. A Swiss Army knife is not that heavy. You know, it's obviously going to be heavier than this 0.6 ounce little baby knife. But, you know, even this is like 1.4 ounces. And what is my phone going off for? Anyways, yeah, you know, if you're getting a Victorinox Swiss Army knife, you're getting scissors, you're getting tweezers, you're getting a little toothpick that you might be able to use for a SIM card. I don't know. You're getting, depending on what you're getting, maybe a bottle opener, maybe a can opener, maybe a screwdriver, corkscrew. They all come in different things. But if you want a small one, the regular one at least has a knife and a scissors and other things, and it'll do plenty. And you know, again, this is openable with one hand. It's just a little trickier. So do be aware of that. So yeah, I don't know. I think, again, this is helpful for me because I have a very specific use case for this. This, less so, but I love it. I think it's adorable and it's actually really fun to fidget with. The Ladybug is not very fidgety, I will say, partially because of the opening mechanism and partially because of the closing mechanism, the back lock. Wow, I did not expect this video to get this kind of long, but it kind of was all over the place, but I had a lot of thoughts. Anyways, subscribe, stay tuned for me eventually doing my Spyderco breakdown, which maybe I'll just record after this. We'll see. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. Happy using your knife appropriately for different things. I don't know if I'll bother sharpening this serrated blade, and I don't frankly care that it's serrated, but a lot of people do hate serrated, so don't worry if you don't like serrated. These do come with a smooth edge. Smooth edge? I don't even know what the fuck the term is. It comes with a non-serrated version, you know, just a standard edge, same blade shape with this little tapering point here. Not tapering. It's not even a. I don't know. What is this? Is this a drop point? I always don't know between clip point and drop point. Those are the ones I'm always kind of like. I don't know what the fuck a clip point is. I think this is a drop point. Point is, this is a little cute little knife, and I guess for the thumbnail, I'll just compare it to the Dragonfly. So yeah, this is a little bit of an unboxing of the Ladybug, but also a comparison of the Dragonfly and a little bit of the little native. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Check out the coffee in the description. Click the subscribe bell button. Like, comment, tell me your favorite small knife. That actually makes sense. Tell me your favorite like little keychain knife. If you have any preferences, if you have any like favorite lightest knife ever, this again, this is the lightest knife I have, and I am, it cuts like at least the very basic fingernail test here. How do I angle my fingernail? Yeah, it cut my fingernail. And I'm sure that, yeah, we'll see how it holds up against oysters. Looks like I have something to do on Saturday at the farmer's market. All right, toodaloo.